the station working for you. This is WRTV News at 11, streaming now.
Thanks for staying up with us here at 11. I'm Mark Mullins. We begin with another major step forward in the fight against the pandemic. A second COVID-19 vaccine has been authorized for emergency use here in the United States. Just a short time ago, the FDA officially signed off on the Moderna vaccine. And as ABC's Rena Roy reports, millions of doses will be shipped out within days.
Tonight, the U.S. is equipped with a second weapon in the war against the coronavirus.
By golly, the finish line is in sight. So we just got to keep on running. American people, we need you to keep on running.
The Moderna vaccine officially authorized for emergency use, the FDA commissioner giving the green light.
As with any decision made by the FDA, this authorization was guided solely by science and data.
5.9 million doses ready to ship out to areas across the country as early as Sunday. Unlike Pfizer's vaccine, this one does not need to be stored in ultra-cold freezers, making it easier to distribute to remote areas.
We likely will see shots in the arm by the very early part of next week. I would hope Monday or Tuesday.
Pfizer's vaccine has already been given to thousands across the country, from healthcare workers to now nursing home residents.
They feel good. The shot was no problem.
And the nation's top leaders, including Vice President Mike Pence. This as the nation reports its deadliest week of the pandemic, a record more than 114,000 battling the virus in the hospital.
I've seen a lot of just, unfortunately, death and a lot of people being taken away just way too early.
45-year-old beloved attorney Billy Loretto of McAllen, Texas, died recently from COVID-19, leaving his wife this note, saying, "We had our time and it was wonderful."
I think he was trying to give me permission to be happy without him.
Now, even as we see this great news on the vaccine front, health experts are urging Americans to stay vigilant, with the CDC predicting more than 80,000 deaths in less than a month. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
More healthcare workers in central Indiana are finally getting the coronavirus vaccine. Today, health workers at Franciscan Health lined up for their shots. Leaders expected 216 vaccines to be given out at the clinic today. They are expecting 3,000 doses to arrive over the next 2 weeks. As people debate whether or not they will get the vaccine, physicians are urging anyone who can get vaccinated to do so when the option becomes available. We spoke with a local doctor who has a direct message for the African-American community. Dr. Miracle Anakite is a neurosurgery resident at IU Health. He received the vaccine on Wednesday. He didn't hesitate, he says, because the effectiveness of this vaccine is much higher than the majority of vaccines out there. So far, he has had no symptoms after getting the Pfizer vaccine, and he really hopes African Americans will take him at his word.
For those who are debating whether or not to get the vaccine, please get the vaccine, especially for those in the African American population. The healthcare system has not been kind to the African American population and also to the minority population. We have the blight in medical history and in African American history and history of humanity with the Tuskegee experiments. And this puts a lot of African Americans, puts them in a place where they're afraid of the medical system and new medications and new drugs and new vaccines and new treatments that come in from the scientific community. Rightly so, they should be. But this is not Tuskegee. This vaccine is something that can help stave off the pandemic that is rampaging through the communities of African Americans, Blacks, Latinos, and other minorities as well. To better protect yourself and to better protect the people around you, please go ahead and get this vaccine.
The Marion County Health Department has already been working with partners in the Black, Hispanic, and other communities during the response to the COVID-19 pandemic. Officials say their focus has turned to answering questions and concerns about the vaccines. And perhaps we can help you with that too. We have everything you need to know about COVID-19 vaccines. We've got information in a question and answer format so it's easy to follow and understand, plus several stories you'll want to see as Indiana starts receiving the first doses of a COVID vaccine. That's all on WRTV.com/coronavirus. coronavirus. Let's review now the very latest COVID-19 numbers tonight from the state health department. Another 6,008 Hoosiers have been diagnosed with the virus. 84 more Hoosiers have died with the virus, bringing the total number of deaths to 6,944. Since March, more than 453,000 Hoosiers have tested positive for the virus, and more than 5 million tests have been administered in Indiana. New at 11, if you plan to either ship something or buy offline, deadlines are approaching fast to get your item in time for Christmas. WRTV's Cornelius Hawker explains those deadlines, along with the impact they're having on small businesses already under pressure because of the pandemic.
Morgan Roddy is a small business owner we've been following since the beginning of this pandemic. Her chocolate shop in Muncie, Queer Chocolatier, still closed because she doesn't want to risk spreading coronavirus in her community.
Would I have business if I opened that door? Yes. Would I be able to sleep at night? Not necessarily, because I think that there's still this risk.
With the decision to stay closed, Morgan focused her work on delivering and shipping her chocolate, which has worked out over the last several months. But now she faces another problem with all the issues people are having actually getting what they ordered delivered to them on time.
Once you get the chocolate out of your shop or whatever a small business is selling in terms of product, once it's out of the shop, there's nothing else that we can do as a small business person other than finding a way to make that customer happy and satisfied.
If something goes wrong with shipping, Morgan, like a lot of small business owners, has to eat that cost. She had to do that recently after a batch of her orders went out.
One of them, though, went to New Mexico, but it's not there. So a woman reached out to me and she says, hey, according to the tracking, it's not here. Can I get a refund?
Because she is shipping a perishable item, there's really no time for extreme delays.
If it arrives late and it's, melted or stale, that's not good. That looks like my product is bad.
If you're trying to ship or get something delivered to you before Christmas, you need to know about the shipping deadlines. All of them from FedEx, UPS, and USPS are quickly approaching, with only FedEx offering same-day delivery on Christmas, and you can expect to pay a lot of money for that if you can even get it where you live. Morgan tells me she's acutely aware of all these deadlines and still has more orders to get out in the next couple of days. She hopes her customers and anyone else waiting on something from a small business is patient and understanding about something they can't control.
People are relying on a lot of online shopping, and that just puts more stress and burden on the shipping systems and infrastructures.
Working for you, Cornelius Hawker, WRTV.
The delays in shipping are not only being caused by the amount of packages, but also because many places have employees off because they're testing positive for COVID-19. Time now for your WRTV Storm Team forecast here on a Friday night, and we're expecting temperatures to dip a bit. Here's Kevin with their forecast.
And cold enough, we could see a little rain-snow mix in the morning mark, and then again late tomorrow night. That's on the menu tomorrow. The wind will be out of the south, so we'll eventually get back to 40. Any wintry mix changes over to all rain. Temperatures settle to about 38 to 42 for that afternoon high. As far as first thing in the morning, temperatures, as I mentioned, will continue to climb out of the lower 30s. By the time we're at noon, 38 degrees. There's your little morning mix. Then the light showers in the afternoon. We'll focus on the changes for Sunday and the big changes next week coming up.
New at 11, 2 deadly shootings within a span of a couple of hours. You're looking at video from the 5200 block of East 38th Street, where one person was found critically wounded inside a gas station. This happened just after 7:30 this evening. The victim later died. That person's name has not been released. Earlier today, a deadly shooting at a northwest side apartment complex. This was the scene around 3:30 this afternoon near 46th and High School Road at the Scarborough Lake Apartments. Metro Police were called to the 6300 block of Maidstone Road, and when they arrived, they found a man dead inside a car. His name has not been released. That shooting remains under investigation. There is a silver alert tonight for a missing 13-year-old boy from Kokomo. Xander Wheeler went missing on December 10th. He was last seen wearing a gray hat, gray sweatshirt, blue jeans, and black shoes. Wheeler is believed to be in extreme danger and may require medical assistance. Anyone with information on his whereabouts is asked to call 911 or the Kokomo Police Department. New tonight, a substitute teacher with Zionsville Community Schools has been arrested for alleged sexual misconduct with a student. 26-year-old Sean Martin is charged with 2 counts of felony child seduction. The Boone County Sheriff's Office received information about the case involving Martin and a female student in early November after the Zionsville Community School Corporation reported the incident to the Indiana Department of Child Services. The incident allegedly took place off of school property. Now to Johnson County, where a community collaboration can make a big difference in the lives of children. Right now, work is underway to paint a mural on the walls of this hallway inside the Johnson County Prosecutor's Office. This is the Hall of the Brave, where victims walk to testify about really difficult traumas. And so together with the Prosecutor's Office, Leadership Johnson County, Creative Council, and Assist Indiana, they received a grant from Johnson County REMC. Together they are painting the bright colors and words of affirmation on these walls in support of these brave children.
This project just demonstrates how a village can come together for a great cause, do great work, make a difference in the life of kids, and hopefully leave a lasting positive impression. We want them to feel seen, heard, known, that they're amazing, they're wonderful, they're tough, kind. I could go on, but the biggest thing is most of all, we want them to know they're believed.
Assist Indiana has specialized therapists, victim advocates, and various support groups, as well as prevention education, and their following has grown quickly in this pandemic. If you need access to any of these resources, we have more for you on our website, WRTV.com. Just click on this story. So many jobs are being affected by the pandemic, and that includes people who make house calls, for example, plumbers and other repairmen. Up next, why those jobs are practically disappearing. Fresh off his bout with coronavirus, Rudy Giuliani was seen arriving at the White House today without a mask on. President Trump's personal lawyer was seen maskless entering the West Wing, walking slowly across West Executive Avenue. The 76-year-old former New York mayor was released from Georgetown University Hospital 9 days ago after 4 days of treatments. Giuliani said doctors gave him some of the same drugs the president took during his bout of coronavirus in October. Giuliani has been leading Trump's long-shot challenges to use the courts to overturn the presidential election. He has repeatedly disregarded mask guidelines at rallies and news conferences held on the president's behalf. Having a repair worker inside your home during the pandemic, well, that can seem a little bit unnerving. Repair workers say their incomes have nearly dried up as people are too scared to invite them in. Cesar Rodriguez shows how many are being forced to find other incomes and what safety steps you can take if you need to hire someone in your home.
Ron Belansky is passionate about working with his hands, but COVID-19 threw a wrench at how he made his living as a construction worker.
I took a job with a builder as their construction manager literally the day before Governor Pritzker closed down the state.
He was able to work for a few months before work dried up. Then he worked as a handyman, but as the pandemic fear continued, those opportunities dwindled. His 3 to 4 job offers a week went down to maybe 4 calls a month.
That has gone away completely. There is no one asking me for estimates on anything anymore. The only phone calls I do get are people in an emergency situation.
This jack of all trades says clients are reluctant to hire repair experts because of the current pandemic and social distancing guidelines.
It was a scary situation.
Marilu Garcia worried about her family when she needed a plumber for emergency gas line work.
Having a stranger come to my house was a big thing, but you know, I understand that those were things that needed to be done. So I needed to make sure that I would get somebody that was also responsible, someone that was also taking this virus seriously.
Health experts say everyone in your house and any repair workers should wear a mask. You should limit interaction with repair workers and then disinfect areas that workers touch during the project. It's best for people with compromised immune systems to leave while the work is being done.
If you then leave the person to do the work and then are coming back later, presumably they may keep their mask on because they're in your house, particularly if they're not overtly sick, they're not coughing, they don't have any symptoms. It's unlikely that there'll be COVID in the air, so there's probably not an extended air out period that you need to worry about. But again, I think that the key is it's great if they would keep on their mask while they're in your home.
As for Ron, he's now on his 3rd gig during the pandemic. He's found a job at a local hardware store.
It's a big box store, sure, and all that, but they're open. They're not closing. I have a mortgage. I have to worry about stuff like that.
I'm Cesar Rodriguez reporting.
Many central Indiana businesses are struggling to make ends meet during the pandemic. But as our Kelsey Anderson tells us, one local business is having trouble keeping up with demand right now.
Here at Always in Stitches in Noblesville and at stitching stores across the country, business has been booming as people started making those masks and getting back to their crafting roots. Cappy Saxton is the store manager at Always in Stitches in Noblesville. She says they've been able to stay open during the pandemic because they're considered an essential business due to the fact that they sell supplies to make masks. She tells me they've been so busy they were actually able to hire on one of their part-time employees to be full-time, to be their customer concierge, helping those who don't want to come into the store. Saxton says sewing and crafting is therapeutic for a lot of people.
It is a huge industry that does very well when things unfortunately go bad because people return to those crafts. They return to pulling out mom's sewing machine or grandma's sewing machine and getting it out, and it connects you to that person, and it also gives you something to do.
She jokes if you stab something 1,000 times like a quilt, cross stitch, or another craft, you will eventually feel better. She says right now they still have a hard time keeping fabric in stock. Working for you, Kelsey Anderson, WRTV.
All right, I've mentioned big changes several times, so let's talk about those. By the time we get to next Wednesday, look at that, close to 50 degrees. You'll remember that because by Thursday and then on Christmas Day, you'll be saying, what happened? Temperatures will be down into the lower teens Christmas morning and only recover into the low to mid 20s for an afternoon high temperature. The big picture, some specific numbers for you. Temperatures will, as we mentioned, fall from 48 on Wednesday to 28 Thursday, 26 or so as we get to Friday. I want to mention that transition may bring some rain, changing to snow Wednesday night into Thursday morning. That will leave us with at least the possibility of a white Christmas. Not likely, but at least we'll have that chance. We'll put it at about 30%. And the whole East Coast, really from the Central Plains all the way to the East Coast and then to the deep South, will feel the impact of the colder air in that Arctic front. Right now, temperatures in the low 30s. As you wake up in the morning, won't be much different. The cloud cover around will keep our temperature from changing much. 40 degrees, the afternoon high. Again in the morning, we could see a little rain-snow mix to begin the day and then end as we go later Saturday night into Sunday morning, a little wintry mix. The south wind gusting over 20 miles per hour at times. 7 a.m., the blue represents some snow, changing to or mixing with rain and then becoming all light rain through the day. We'll see pockets of that around. Temperatures coolest to the north and east, upper 30s. Otherwise, right at 40 degrees for the afternoon high. Southern sections will see temperatures in the low 40s. Not much changes Sunday, except we dry out. That 7-day forecast, temperatures over the next 7 days peak, as we mentioned, on Wednesday. We'll have a chance of rain Monday, rain changing to snow Wednesday into Thursday morning, and then Christmas morning, 13 or 14 degrees with an afternoon high of just 26. We'll continue to fine-tune this, but cold to end next week. Mark?
All right, Kevin, thank you. An empty arena, but the Pacers are certainly ready to be back home. One final test before the regular season begins. We'll have a recap up next in sports.
And a week had passed since the Pacers last tipped off a game at Bankers Life Fieldhouse. No fans in the stands to start this season, but a chance to get another good look at their lineup in the preseason finale. Game was tied at the end of first quarter Friday night. Pacers draft pick Cassius Stanley slams it home. A nice assist from T.J. McConnell. Stanley scored 12 points in the game. Domantas Sabonis had a very nice showing for the third straight game. Big second quarter for Domas. Three-pointer tied it up at 42 all. And then later, a great move to the basket. Victor Oladipo with a beautiful pass between two defenders. 26 points and 11 rebounds for Sabonis. One of many double-doubles we expect to see in the months ahead. Pacers up 8 at halftime. Started the third quarter with another run. Victor Oladipo had 20 points on Friday. 3 pushed the advantage to double figures. Pacers would open up a 17-point lead. Malcolm Brogdon on on the drive. He had a 21-point game and just 7 of 22 shooting from the field for Brogdon. The Sixers made a run after that and eventually got over the hump in the fourth quarter. By the time it was done, Philly wins at 113-107, so the Pacers 0-3 record in this preseason week, but optimistic about what they've got when the real games begin on Wednesday.
This is a team that's approached practice the right way. They've approached these preseason games the right way. I like the way they approach everything in practice, whether it's film sessions, whether it's pre-practice, post-practice, every drill that we run, their attentiveness in huddles. So I like their approach. That's a sign of a good team.
I think we just came out with a lot of energy. Coach is very on about ball pressure, and I think that disrupts a lot of offenses, and then that just gives us easy transition points. It gets everybody going. And I feel like for most of the game, we really kept that up.
Pacers open at home Wednesday night against the Knicks. Ball State's football team in the MAC championship game, their first appearance in 12 years, unbeaten Buffalo the opponent Friday night. Teams traded big plays and big drives in the first half. It was 21-21 in the middle of the second quarter. Cardinals take the lead on Drew Plitt's 4th touchdown pass of the game, finding a wide-open Jalen McCoy, who takes care of the rest on a 56-yard score. That gave BSU their first lead of the game. The Cards' defense comes up big right after that. Jimmy Daw knocks the ball loose from the quarterback. Christian Albright picks it up on the bounce, and he's gone to the house. Just the 5th turnover all season for Buffalo. Ball State was up 14 at halftime. Points were much harder to come by after that. Opening play of the fourth quarter, Antonio Phillips comes up with the true takeaway. Rips the ball from the receiver for the interception, helps keep some likely points off the board for the Bulls. The Ball State D gets one more stop with 3 minutes to go. Senior Jalen Thomas with the tackle for loss on 4th down. They only scored 1 field goal in the second half, but it's enough for Ball State to pick up a 38-28 win, their first conference title in 24 years. The Cardinals will also likely be headed to a bowl game, their first since 2013. Notre Dame will play for its first ever ACC championship on Saturday. You can watch the Fighting Irish take on Clemson at 4 p.m. right here on WRTV. ND won the regular season matchup 47-40 a month ago. The winner of this one will earn a spot in the college football playoff. The teams are ranked 2 and 3 by the selection committee this week. And Colts punter Rigoberto Sanchez will be on the active list for Sunday's game against the Texans, less than 3 weeks after having surgery to remove a cancerous tumor. Sanchez said this week he is feeling good. His doctors telling him they caught the cancer early and likely prevented it from spreading. Coach Frank Reich said Friday Rigo will punt and handle kickoffs in the game against Houston. Brad Brown, WRTV Sports.
Well, holiday shopping is in full swing, but stores are preparing for this weekend for that final dash. The National Retail Federation estimates more than 150 million Americans plan to shop this Saturday alone despite the pandemic. That's a slight increase from the roughly 148 million that shopped on the same day last year. Many large retailers are encouraging customers to take advantage of curbside pickup services. The next time you're craving a Whopper, you'll be able to find a Burger King and order through Google. The burger giant says its collaboration with Google is a response to changing consumer behavior during the pandemic. So starting Monday, customers will be able to order food for both delivery and pickup from more than 5,000 Burger King restaurants across the U.S. via Google Search, Maps, and Pay.
Let's talk about what's on the menu weather-wise for tomorrow. We'll see a chance for showers, maybe a couple melting snowflakes in the morning through the afternoon. Lots of clouds. Temperatures struggle to around 40 degrees. Have a great weekend. Mark?
Hey, you too, Kevin. And thank you for joining us for WRTV News at 11. Be safe out there.